let's move on to the next game, actually between C9 and Coast. And Coast plays a similar team composition to Curse, but they play it a little better, and their early game goes a little better. And what we're going to see is C9 kind of adapting to that, and they set the pace of the game really well. And this was actually a really beautifully executed game by C9. I loved watching this. It was never out of C9's control, even though it looks like Coast at some point in this game that I'm about to talk about has an advantage. C9 was completely in control for the whole game, which is what's so cool about it. Okay, so we're gonna open up a different video. And hold on just a second, I want to check on something.
See if it starts here.
He had some great Jinx playing the promotion tournament, and they want to be able to get back.
Okay, so in this game, you'll actually notice a recurring theme, especially in champion picks, that I think is interesting. Specifically for bot lane, is this Annie Caitlyn lane, which is actually really strong. And the way C9 played against it in that first game was really good. C9 actually never plays the lane in any of these games that I'm going over, but for these last two games, they end up actually playing the Ezreal. Whoop, you can't see the thing, can you? Now you can. Maybe. Well, you can kind of see it. Okay, there we go. I don't know why it does that. But for these last two games I'm going to look at, C9 actually plays this Ezreal Leona bot lane, which is a lot weaker than the Caitlyn Annie lane early on. But it has a lot of all-in potential, and Ezreal, of course, is a really safe carry, so he can farm from a distance. And I actually love the way, was it in this? Yeah, it was in this game. I love the way that they use this LeBlanc pick and their Ezreal pick, because it keeps Coast at bay, and it forces certain plays that it puts Coast under pressure in a way that they wouldn't have wanted to be, because Coast picks a similar team composition to Curse. They pick this Wukong, and then I think they grabbed Katarina for the mid lane, which was probably not the smartest idea. I think there are much better picks that they could have gone for. But Coast is basically all in on this grouping up and team fighting composition. They picked the Annie too. So C9 says, like, yeah, okay, we're gonna group, but we're gonna force it on our terms. And specifically, I actually think Coast could have won this game, but they're a little slow at getting to a dragon at one point, and that's gonna end up being one of the biggest factors in the game. For sure. So let's actually fast forward to a few minutes into the game. And basically we're going to see kind of the opposite thing happen in bottom lane that happened before. But then also we're going to see, like basically let's just talk about the lane phase for this game. So, Balls for sure on Renekton is going to be much stronger than Zion Spartan early on. Obviously, Heiz LeBlanc, they talked about this a lot actually in the casting, is going to be a lot stronger than Shifter's Katarina. And then, so the only lane where Coast has an advantage is this bottom lane, but they have a pretty good advantage and they use it pretty effectively. So let's wait for them to kind of go down to the bottom lane, and we'll show you, I'll show you what kind of happens. So Nintendo Dex is jungling a little bit, getting the jungle farm so that he can jungle some more. Yeah. But you'll notice like Renekton's pushing up in this top lane. I think, yeah, he already has a CS advantage, so that's going well for him. There's a CS advantage in the mid lane, and then on this bottom lane, C9 or Sneaky and Lemonation are already zoned out because, you know, this is not a super strong lane early on. Ezreal's range is shorter than both Caitlyn and Annie, and his arcane or his Mystic Shot is not ranked up yet to be super powerful. And then, of course, Leona doesn't get that big until later on. Lemonation actually missed a little bit of experience. I don't know exactly what the story of that is. He's probably just sitting a little far back because he's zoned out, and he missed like maybe one creep or one minion. But Coast just push up on this bottom lane, and that gives them a level advantage. And Sneaky and Lemon have a pretty tough time even getting farm in this lane. And so that's kind of a power spike for Coast, and they're using it pretty well. Of course, C9 using their power in the mid lane and top lane. And I really think if Coast had picked a little bit stronger of a mid laner, they can pick an AoE focused mid laner, but Katarina just has such a weak lane phase that Hai abused very effectively. And then, you know, they had made a little bit better plays at certain points in the game. I think that they could have won this game. I think it was well within their reach. So let's move forward to another point in the game. And this is actually just a couple minutes later when champions are starting to hit level 6. So backing up. I found it. So what's happening here is Daydreamin' actually, how I was saying that Lemonation was behind just 1 or 2 minions. Well, that 1 or 2 minions actually makes a pretty big difference. So I believe this was a gank on bottom lane that happened. But what we're going to see is Daydreamin' is level 6 and Lemonation is not. So yeah, Katarina, Shifter on Katarina roams bottom, and he gets behind the tower. Actually, I kind of like this play where he jumps to a ward over the wall. He avoids getting spotted by any potential C9 wards on the river. And it's really funny, Lemonation just barely misses seeing him, and he put his ward over the wall here, so he never actually spots Shifter, so they have no idea that Shifter's here. And Coast is going to push up this bottom lane because they can. And I think Daydreamin' just does a flash tibbers under the tower, and actually the usage of the flash is going to end up mattering later on. C9 does a really good job of taking advantage of the fact that that flash is down. So, okay, so yeah, flash in there. The flash actually used by Shifter as well to get under this tower, but they get, I believe, both kills here for nothing. C9 gains nothing here. So, of course, the flash used by Daydreamin'. And, but really good ability of Coast to notice that Elimination is down a level, and they can take advantage of that power spike by doing a gank on the bottom lane, because, of course, it's going to be a lot scarier to tower dive a Leona once she gets level 6. And I actually think If Lemonation had been a little more assertive in this lane, if he had established a little more lane presence and not missed so much experience, because I don't think he missed it from warding. I think he was just sitting really far back. I think that they could have avoided that, but really well played by Coast there. And then they actually do end up backing up, and like we saw, C9 just took the dragon because they noticed, Coast had to recall. They were all pretty low. So well played by C9, of course. So both teams kind of trading back and forth. Definitely where this game should kind of break out and start to get really exciting is when they get into these 5v5 team fights, where Coast theoretically should be very strong based on their champion picks. So let's skip forward just a couple minutes. Actually, we're almost there anyway, so we'll just let it keep rolling. What happens here? Okay. Yeah, so Lemonation is finally going to hit level 6, and Daydreamin's flash is still down, and that's really important. And I'm going to talk about why in just a second. Okay, so just very soon here, Lemonation's going to hit 6. He knows he's going to hit 6. So that last minion, he's got level 6. He's going to go in basically immediately on Daydreamin. With the ultimate, with that, what's it called, Solar Flare? Yeah, Solar Flare. So he goes in, gets that, sneaky from the back with the True Shot Barrage ultimate from Ezreal. They lock down Daydreamin and kill him. Unfortunately, because WizFujin and Daydreamin do have a bit of an advantage in this lane, Sneaky is forced back, or they do get the kill here on Lemon as well. But that was overall a good play by Lemonation, taking advantage of the flash being down from Daydreamin to just lock him down and kill him. And overall, a pretty good play. Actually, and one thing that's really important, you saw that teleport on a minion. Balls in the top lane went under the tower to cancel that with his, I don't remember what it's called, the W ability. And then gank in the mid lane. Hai actually doesn't go down here, which is pretty important actually, because that's Wukong's ultimate down, and Hai's just going to be able to come back to lane. He is going to miss a little bit, but Coast wants to use that ultimate to force a fight, so that's going to be down for a while. C9 is going to be safe for a while. So I think it was actually the next play that I really loved by C9. It was a really good capitalization on a timing. Okay, it was actually the one after that, after this next one that I'm going to talk about, the clip after this next one. So at this point, this is another item power spike, where somebody finishes an item and it results, and they group up for it. So what actually happens is, if we'll look at the items here, WizFujin just finished his Bloodthirster, and because Sneaky is going for Blazer and King, which actually is really smart, it works out really well for him because he's able to be kind of a backline tank killer and deal with Mundo. But they have Caitlyn with this finished BT, and Sneaky is like not even joining his team, he's just farming, which is alright based on how C9 want to play. But what actually ends up happening is they use this power spike of finishing the bottom lane tower and getting that Bloodthirster on Caitlyn to just group up in the mid lane. They tower dive and they force fights. They get several. I think they get 3 kills here actually, which is huge for them. Maybe only 2. But a really huge play because they get 2 towers and several kills. And this doesn't. There's like a big build up and then it hit like nothing. But anyway, pretty good play. And this is where we see C9's game plan. C9, like, doesn't particularly care about Coast grouping because they know that with this Ezreal and LeBlanc, so what they're going to do with Ezreal and LeBlanc is Ezreal's just going to shoot True Shot barrages to clear the side waves. This is actually one of the things I love most about